Hello, friends of Rock Mania. Today we are very, very happy to talk to a legend, the metal queen, Doro Pesch. Welcome to Rock Mania.
Oh, thank you so much for having me. Hello, everybody. It's awesome to be on, and yeah, and we have good things to talk about, and yeah. And here you see, you see the Triumph and Agony album. Yeah.
Conquest, Forever Strong and Proud is coming in October. What will we have in this album?
Yeah, there are 20 songs, and I think I love the album so much, and there are many anthems like Children of the Dawn. That's the opener. I personally love that song so much, and they're very heavy songs like I Will Prevail is probably one of the heaviest songs we've ever done, and there's some soulful things like Love Breaks Chains, and there's one German English song. It's called Fels in der Brandung. That means you're my rock, or solid as a rock. And then there are 3 duets on it. One is with Sammy Amara. It's a big German band. They call Broilers. And that was the last song which was written for the album. And then there is one cover version of, to say thanks and honor for Metallica. There is the 40th anniversary of Kill 'Em All, so we covered a version of Four Horsemen. That's on the limited edition. That's in the bonus tracks, because we played together so many times in the early 80s. So, and I still remember Cliff Burton. He was such a great guy. And then there are 2 special duets on it. I can't believe it. You know, with one band I always admired. It was my very first big tour in 1986. We toured with Judas Priest, and Rob Halford was my biggest inspiration. I loved Rob Halford, Ronnie James Dio, David Coverdale, Lemmy of Motorhead. And now, after so many years, we met actually last year in France at Hellfest. That's a big, great festival. I just came back from Wacken. That's awesome too. So super. But Hellfest in France, highly recommendable. And yeah, we met backstage. We both played, and then we were hanging out and talking, and then we said, hey, it's about time that we do something together. And I said, yes, Rob, I'm just finishing my new album. I'm just in the last, like mixing and stuff. And then he said, what would you like to do? And I said, Rob, I have one song I always sang in the 80s with some other bands. When we didn't have Triumph and Agony back then. It was before that. And then when I had support bands or when I was playing on festivals, we said, okay, last song we should do all together. And then we decided, what song can we do? And then we said, either Breaking the Law or Living After Midnight. So I said, Rob, I would love to do Living After Midnight with you. And he said, awesome. Let's do it. And then he said, my wish would be one song you probably know. And I said, yes, what is it? He said, Total Eclipse of the Heart. And he said, really? He said, I love that song. I always wanted to do that with you. And I said, really? And let's do it. So we did 2 duets with Rob Halford, Living After Midnight and Total Eclipse of the Heart. I'm so happy. I'm so honored that Rob did it. And he's such a great guy, a gentleman. What an amazing singer. So I'm so happy. And then we just released, there was the second single, Living After Midnight, just came out when we played Wacken last Wednesday, and the 2nd of August. And the first single was Time for Justice. There's a really great video out. I don't know if you've seen the video.
Amazing. And in ambient total Mad Max.
Totally. I always wanted to do a video with these, they call Wasteland Warriors, and these, these wild people, and they build their own motorcycles, build their own cars, and it really looks like a Mad Max movie. And I met him in Wacken many, many years ago, and we always wanted to do something together. And then when I delivered the record, then we all said, okay, what should be the first single? And I said, I would either have Time for Justice or Children of the Dawn. And then the record company said, hey, how about Time for Justice? Because, and then I thought, oh, that's the song. I call up the Wasteland Warriors and I said, can we do the video together? And I said, yes, we were waiting for this. So we did this video, and I'm so happy how it came out. And there's a dog in the video as well. I love animals. I grew up with dogs and horses, and I miss animals my life. But when you're touring so much, you can't have pets, you can't have animals. So I wanted to have a dog in the video. So Wasteland Warriors and the dog, and I'm a happy baby, and I think it was really cool. There was a lot of pyrotechnics, and fire. Dangerous. Like every video shoot I've ever done was so dangerous, but we all survived. Everything is good, and it looks good on film. So yeah,
this union of the metal king and the metal queen, it's perfect. The fans crying a lot.
Same here. It's so great. I tell you, man, it's a dream come true, and I was so blessed and lucky in my life. I could work with all my heroes, with Lemmy of Motorhead and, you know, Gene Simmons. I was a big Kiss fan growing up, and then he was working with us actually the whole year. This record, which was just called Doro, it was in 89, 90, and doing great duets with Udo Dirk Schneider and Pete Steele, and now Rob Halford. I tell you, I'm so happy and grateful, and you know, it's awesome. So
I can feel in your words, in your way to look to the camera, your passion. You are so natural. I can feel it.
Yeah. Talking about metal, talking about the fans, talking about Rob Halford. You can only be happy and ecstatic, and you know, that's really so fucking awesome.
Let's talk a little about the beginning of your trajectory, Warlock times. What comes to your mind about that times?
Yeah, when we had our first record out, Burning the Witches, I know the diehard fans know it. And, you know, we didn't expect anything. We just had fun. We were just doing a record. And we thought maybe like we would sell 100 pieces, 100 copies, like to our friends and, you know, boyfriend, girlfriend, to, you know, mom and dad. And then in the first month, it sold miraculously 25,000 copies. And we had no idea how people could even find out about our little band, Warlock. And then the second album was Hellbound, and we got picked up by a major label. It was Polygram. Now it's called Universal. And yeah, and then the third album was True as Steel. And then we got the Monsters of Rock festivals. They were like the biggest festivals back then. And we did 2 in Germany and 1 in England, Castle Donington. And we didn't know that it was so huge because there was no internet, there was no cell phone. So out. And then I was in Castle Donington, and there were 80,000 people there. And I thought, oh my God. And when I walked on stage, I saw Lemmy. And Lemmy said, hey, Doro, you know, good luck, have a good show. And are you nervous? And I said, oh man, I'm so nervous. And he gave me a hug, and he gave me a kiss on my head. And, you know, and he said, okay, now knock him down, knock him dead. And, you know, and this photo, somebody made this photo, and I saw it in the Motorhead record. It was either No Sleep at All or No Sleep Till Hammersmith. So when I saw this photo, it was a total surprise. And then I cut it out, and I sent Lemmy a letter. And I said, Lemmy, hi, it's the little girl from Warlock. You know, I hope you remember me. And, you know, and then I said, now we are at the same label. And if it's possible to eventually do something, record a song together. And one day I got a phone call from Lemmy. He said, hey, Doro, I got your letter. Let's do something together. And then I flew to LA, and we did my first duet. It was Love Me Forever. And we did a song which Lemmy wrote on his acoustic guitar, Alone Again. And so that was my first time doing a duet with somebody I loved so much. It was awesome. And yeah, and then in 86, when we played Castle Donington, Monsters of Rock Festival, actually, I think we did pretty good. The fans were on fire. The fans, I owe it all to the fans, you know, forever. And then the record company and the journalists, agencies, the booking agency, everybody said, okay, let's give this little band a shot. And so we hopped on tour with Judas Priest in 86. It was a big European tour. And then, and the tour in England was with Wasp, one of my favorite bands as well. Yeah, and then I went to America. for a little promotion tour for the True Steel album. And it was just 3 days. And after 2 days, I thought, oh, I want to stay. And I loved New York. It was so crazy, many great people. And then we recorded Triumph and Agony album, which is still one of my favorite records with All We Are and Für Immer and I Will Ruins. I still love to play all these songs. And yeah, and then I stayed. And then we had a great time in the studio. Many great people played on Triumph and Agony, like Cozy Powell, the legendary drummer. Yeah, and then we got in trouble because our former manager, the German manager, he stole the name. He was the merchandiser, so he was interested in keeping the name. And then he stole the name and he left. He went to Turkey, and you couldn't find him. Back in the day, you couldn't track anybody down, so we could never talk about it, and it was a mess. So we had to call it Doro because I wanted to continue making music. And I thought, okay, one record we call Doro, and then we go back to Warlock. But I tell you, I thought it will take 1 or 2 years to solve it, but it took 20 years to get the rights to the name Warlock back. So I had to wait 20 years, but now I have the name Warlock back. I can do something with the name Warlock. I'm very happy. And yeah, and then we did many, many records. Yeah, in 89, 90, we did a record with Gene Simmons. That was awesome. And yeah, and then many, many more records. And last record was Forever Warriors, Forever United. I did 2 songs for Lemmy. One song was called Living Life to the Fullest, and the other song is a Motorhead song, Lost in the Ozone, was always one of my favorite songs. I think not many people know that. The diehard Motorhead fans know it, but not many other people know it, so I love it. And yeah, and then now the new record is coming out in October, 27th of October, it's coming out. And I think it sums up all, like the whole years of metal. Like there are heavy songs on it, fast songs, really heavy songs like I Will Prevail, anthems like Children of the Dawn, duets with Rob Halford and Sammy Amara, and yeah, and some beautiful ballads too. So I think it sums it up, all these 40 years, what I experienced, and and I hope the fans love it as much as we do. And yeah, and I'm still on fire for the fans.
What means to you to create songs, to touch the people, and many times change the life of people, your songs? What it means to you?
It means the most. The fans are the most important thing in my life. So if I can give out positive energy, if I can empower them, if I can, like help somebody, dealing with a difficult situation, I'm so happy. And I love people. I love the metalheads. I love Brazil especially. And now we have even a Brazilian guitar player, Bill Hudson. He's born in Sao Paulo. He has an American passport, our band. And he was so proud when we played Monsters of Rock Brazil just a couple of months ago. And it was so awesome. So he has that Brazilian blood and passion and fire, and he plays awesome. So I live for the fans. I always have. And yeah, and they mean the most to me. And if I can do something nice, if I can, make somebody happy or make somebody feel good, or just like doing a great show where everybody can just forget about all the everyday bullshit and problems, when you can just, like feel free and go crazy, go wild. That's sometimes so good when I see all the headbangers when they're like totally sweaty, like the hair is sweaty and they're singing along, like headbanging like crazy. Oh, then I feel so good. I feel so good, and I dedicated my life to metal when I was, I think, 24. One day I woke up and I thought, today I make the decision, I don't want to do anything else. I want to dedicate my life to the metalheads, to the music. And that's the reason why I never started a family. I don't have a husband or kids. It's my family are the fans worldwide, especially in Brazil. I love them. So many fans of Brazil came to Wacken, actually. And I know Brazil is like one of the best countries for metal. And I love the people's mentality, the spirit. They live metal. And their heart is in the right place, and so it's an honor for me to play a show. especially in Brazil, and I think that people feel that, you know, it's like a, you know.
Doro, what do you do to keep singing over the years? Do you have any special care with your voice?
No, actually, it just pops out. And when I see the fans, it's always there. Even when I'm sick as a dog, it doesn't matter. Voice is always there. When it's showtime, when I hop on stage, when I see the fans, then suddenly it all comes back, even when I'm hoarse or when I'm really having a bad cold or a fever. When I'm on stage, I don't feel any pain. It's always there. I gave up smoking many, many years ago. When I was a teenager, I smoked. I was a chain smoker. That was the thing to do when I was young. Everybody was smoking. So I was 11 years old. I loved it. But I gave up. And I'm now, you know, healthy. And I love animals. That's the reason why I became vegan. And all my stage clothes, they are like vegan leather.
What do you like to do when you are not involved with music?
Yeah, actually, I love sports. I'm a big martial arts fan. I love boxing and kung fu, eskrima. I love all that stuff. And I think it makes you strong, you know. And if you get into a difficult situation, you can always, you know, like at least run away, you know, fight and then run away. So my trainer always said, Doro, the best fight is the fight you don't fight. And I said, okay, so I love martial arts. I love soccer, and I do a lot of charity work, especially for animals, because I love animals so much and stuff. I'm very involved in people who are saving animals. And there was one song on the record that's written for the animals. It's called Heavenly Creatures. Amazing. And I want to do something with it. And so far, only like you and the journalists heard the record. So the fans don't know about it yet, but I want to do something with that song, Heavenly Creatures, because I love animals. And that's the reason why I became vegan, because of the love for animals. And all my stage clothes, it's all like vegan leather. And when I was a teenager, when I started out, I wasn't conscious and I wasn't aware. But when I found out, then I thought, yeah, I don't want to harm any animals for me jumping up on stage, feeling cool. But I tell you, the vegan leather is as cool. And, you know, I love it. Yeah, and I tried to become vegan. Like maybe 6 years ago, I was vegetarian before. So I think it's good for the body too. That's the reason why I can jump around and feel pretty good. And yeah, and I do a lot of charity work, and I do a lot, you know, in what I can do. I sponsored a soccer team, a female soccer team, actually in my hometown where I came from, Düsseldorf, Germany. And they are young ladies. They are under 17, and I sponsored their tricots, like, you know, their outfits. And now strong and proud. They have like Conquerors Forever Strong and Proud on their black T-shirts, you know, and I was just, I got to know them a couple of weeks ago, and they were playing, and I could even train with them, and I had high heels on. I didn't know that I would train with the girls, you know. Everybody had sneakers on, and I had high heels on, but it worked. It worked. It was
amazing.
I would not break my legs because Wacken show was coming up. But so that's what I do. But actually, there is not much free time. It's almost every day, either studio or songwriting or rehearsing or touring. It's
interviews.
Interviews, yeah, which I, you know, when people are nice to me, that's always, you know, that I love it. And when we can talk about music, that's better. To journalists, I can talk better than to my closest friends, because when they're not so much into music or when they don't know about metal, hey, we have nothing to talk about, you know. They talk about shit. I don't know about that, you know. It's sometimes funny, you know, like old friends, you know, from school, you know. It's so different, and they're always asking me, are you still on tour? And I said, yeah, of course, you know. I would never, you know, stop. And, you know, but it's different lives. So I rather talk about music and the fans and, you know, what's really exciting to me, or talking about animals. And it's the reason why there is a dog in the video. In Time for Justice, there's a dog. And it was actually funny. It's an Australian Shepherd, and the video director and the cameraman and lights and stuff, they said, okay, are you okay? And the dog was sitting next to me, and and then video director, okay, Doro? And I said, yes, okay, ready. And the dog always left. The dog always ran away. And we thought, okay, so next, light, cameraman, producer, dog. And then, okay. And then later on, we found out the keyword for the dog was okay, and I was running back to his owner. We didn't know that. So we had a hard time to even filming it. And then we said, okay, let's say not okay, let's say ready. And we said, ready, okay. And then dog was running. It was so funny. But in the end, we kind of tried to not say okay. And the dog was so lovely. So I always want to have and the dog, that was so cool,
If you could be part of any band in the history of music, which band would be and why?
It would be probably, the lineup would be Lemmy on bass, Ronnie on vocals, Rob Halford on vocals, me on vocals, and Cozy Powell on drums, and Jimmy Bain, the Dio bass player I toured with in '87, Jimmy Bain on bass, and second guitar player Randy Rhoads of Ozzy Osbourne, and that will be my imaginary band. Lemmy on bass, of course, Lemmy on bass and vocals, and Jimmy Bain as well, and we would have a big band where everybody.
If you needed to live inside the cover art of any album, which would be and why?
Can I say our Warlock album? Then I would
say, you decide.
I would say, I would like to see the Warlock, in real life, and ask him, what kind of magic we can learn, to have peace in the world, I think we need some magic there. So Triumph and Agony would be great, I think Eddie of Iron Maiden and the Warlock, they're such great symbols, when I see bands with the t-shirt on, oh man, I think they always love the Warlock. And I love the Warlock, of course.
If you could have any superpower, what would it be and why? A superpower?
Yeah, I would definitely want to have a superpower where I can have the power to make peace on earth, like world peace, I think we need it more than ever, and that everybody gets along, like kind of the metalheads. Like the metalheads, they're always peaceful. Everybody feels like, on festivals. I never ever seen any fights in all these 40 years. Like, great. Everybody was welcomed and, embracing each other, helping each other, supporting each other. And, so the superpower to have world peace, everywhere. And to empower women, because in some countries, they cannot even work. And metal music is in some countries not allowed. So I would like, work on that, but it needs a lot of power. It needs a lot of superpower. And I think the world is like really so chaotic, so crazy. That's the reason why we chose Time for Justice as the first single, because of the message. And I think it's time for for peace and justice. And
do you have a dream?
For me personally, I would love to do it, as long as I can, that it will be, 40 years and more from now on, and touring all over the world, and going into places where it's not possible right now, and, and just continuing, on a good level, that we can, put on great shows, do great records, and and making people happy and give them all the power I got, all the power they deserve, and, and be a good force in this world, to you know, and have like many people who think alike, to get in contact, you know, to have a deep connection with people who, you know, who are like-minded, who are kindred spirits, and, you know, and together we can make it better. And, you know, so even like with the climate change and stuff, I tell you now, in Wacken, I was there in Wacken maybe 22 times, and it was always rain or shine. There was a lot of mud, a lot of rain, but this time it was so unbelievable. We almost thought that Wacken would not take place because nature was not happy, and it was raining and raining. Everybody, you know, mud up to your knees. And then luckily it was okay, you know, Wacken could take place. But I tell you, nature, yeah, I think nature is not so happy with all the people who, you know, all that stuff, you know. And in Germany, usually Germany was always a country where it was always cold, you know. Now it's so hot. Hey, people are dying because it's so hot, you know. You only know it from, you know, hot countries. And now Germany, it's like, it's so intense. So especially many older people, they die from the heat, and here's no air conditioning. In Germany, it's unheard of. Maybe in a really expensive new hotel, but usually people don't have air conditioning. So it's like, yes, you can see the world changing, and it's like, yeah. So I hope that we can do our best to, you know, to save our world and environment, you know, and for all our children. That's important.
We all together need to save our Earth, our planet.
Absolutely. And yeah, you know, yeah, totally. And I think metal can change the world too.
For sure. Your next steps, the album comes out in October.
Yes, yeah, we do a couple of more festivals. The record is coming out 27th of October. And then we do some more festivals. We go to Mexico. And then next year, we're planning to do all the Monsters of Rock festivals in South America. And, you know, it's already in the planning early next year. And this year, yeah, it will be continuous touring, festivals, and doing more videos. Probably doing a video with Rob Halford again. That's in the, yeah, hopefully. And yeah, and then, you know, just like doing what we can do best, rocking out. But next year it will be big, and I want to come back to Brazil, playing all the great festivals, and yeah, in South America mainly because I love it there so much. And yeah, and you know, and just like, yeah, going wherever we can go, and you know, hoping that our agent and booker is doing, you know, good stuff. And it's just in the making, just planning.
It is a very important moment in the trajectory of the Rock Mania. Thank you so much.
Thank you. I thank you for having me. It was a pleasure. It was an honor. And I want to wish everybody all the best. Keep on rocking, stay metal. And, you know, it was great talking to you. And I hope I see you in Brazil very, very soon. And obrigada.